It's NRL Grand Final week. The Storm v the Broncos. Storm on the back of a big win, 22-14 versus the Sharks. Broncos coming in from a 16-14 monster comeback after 14-0 at halftime. I'm Longy. This is Burgz, and we're going to hit you with our predictions. Now, first things first, bit of a change to the team list for the Storm. Relatively similar. Sean Bloor was named on the bench last week, came in late. He's now named to start. And for the Broncos, Big Paddy Carrigan comes in. A monster inclusion. Unfortunately, Ben Tolte, try-scoring extraordinaire, not in the side. Now, Burgz, I'll throw to you here first. Of the games last week, which one was a more impressive win to you?
I feel like you can't go past the Broncos. The Panthers were 98-0 after being, I think, 12 points up in games since 2020. So first for the Broncos last week. And, they weathered the storm. I think that was what they went into the game knowing they had to do, was stay close with the Panthers. And when the time came, they knew they had enough points in them to be able to run them down. And 14 to me was just not really going to be enough. I feel like the Panthers needed that one more try. Had it been 20, I definitely think the Broncos would have run out of time. I think they got a little bit lucky as well towards the end of the game. But the age-old saying is you create your own luck, and I definitely think that the Broncos were more impressive.
Create your own luck, and that's probably going to lead us into my prediction for this week. I've got the Broncos winning this game 19-18. I think it's going to be another close one. I think we're going to flip the script here, though, because, look, Miles, Brisbane have been...
Okay, yeah.
I'll listen. I'll give it to you
really.
It's grand final week. It's dramatic, right? It's dramatic. So the ghosts of 2023 have been haunting the halls of Suncorp for a long time. At Magic Round this year, they played the 2023 grand final at the Caxton, and everyone started throwing drinks at the screen. So there's a bit of passion around... losing that grand final. It's been a while since Brisbane have won a grand final as well. So I think they come into this game fired up, ready to go. Paddy Carrigan back into the starting side. I think they start well. I think they score well. I think they score early. I think Ben Piakura is that first try scorer of the game. I think he runs it one of the inside or outside shoulders of Jaram Hughes there and just pops through and grabs a sneaky little try, signifying he'll be a fantasy weapon for next year.
So you think that Jaram Hughes, based on his performance last week, is going to be a weakness somehow?
I just think that Piakura is going to find a way. And
look how far Piakura's come, I guess, from the relative, early career that he's had. A lot of promise on this kid. I think sometimes he can tend to be the guy who makes a really dumb mistake at the wrong time.
It won't be this week. This week he's scoring that first try.
Gets himself knocked out.
He's scoring that first try, mate. Hughes was fantastic last week, but he has had those shoulder issues this year, the forearm as well. Okay. So I'm just going to call it out. I think Pickera scores that first one. I think Xavier Coates will grab 2 tries in this game. So I've got him scoring a double.
The one question I have for you is the 19-18. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, so I've meditated on top of a mountain about this quite deeply, but
you're Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, I'm sort of a Jack Black for the NRL community. But
Master Uguay has given you everything you need to know.
He taught me what I need.
You found inner peace, and you came up with this prediction.
Well, I've got Brisbane winning 18-12 at the 70th minute mark. I think the Storm score a late try. I think it's a 70-meter try. It finishes with Xavier Coates scoring the try. I think he drops a nice little fend on Reece Walsh at the end of that, and it's a great grand final highlight. But all for nothing, we go into Golden Point, and Adam Reynolds kicks the field goal.
Interesting. It's interesting to see the momentum changes or swings there. Yeah, it swings and roundabouts. Look, I think you're pretty on the ball. I do think this game is going to be pretty close. Whether it goes into Golden Point or not, it's only happened once.
I'm making some big calls
in the history of grand finals.
These aren't
fun. And the last time it happened, funnily enough, we were there, and so were the Broncos. Whether that is playing on the minds of the people at Red Hill as well, whether 2023 is playing on the minds as well. Is it third time's the charm? That'd be the question for me for the Broncos coming into this game. I noticed you picked Payne Haas as man of the match. Now, had a slow start to last week. Do you think he's going to be limited minutes-wise, considering Pat Carrigan's come back? Or?
Yeah, so 80 minutes last week was crazy. The stats were on top. Like we posted those to Instagram, but I think it's less minutes this week. I think it's more like 70 minutes. I think there is a bit of a break in there.
I do think he needs a break.
It's crazy to say 70 minutes is less minutes for a prop, by the way. But reduce those minutes. I think he has some really impactful plays. So I think it's going to be a crucial offload at some point from him. I think he's going to be involved in the attack a bit more than he was last week. And
something I saw from Payne Haas last week that you don't often see is cramping. Like he actually was cramping towards the end of that game
He's
last
had
week
one
as
of the
well.
all-time forward seasons. Like if he can grab a try in this game and they win, it might be the best forward season ever.
I think this finals run and this like surge into the back end of the season as well has kind of stamped out the is it him or Terrell May conversation.
Yeah.
I think for Terrell, I think people started to notice the weakness in his games and that he's maybe stat padding a little bit. Just saying. Just saying. And it's called meaningful minutes, right?
Yeah. Terrell's a weapon, but I do think he should play less minutes. Like Terrell should be playing.
Now, who's the best prop in the game right now?
Well, it's obviously Payne Haas.
There you go.
I don't think Terrell's in the top 5 to be transparent. Like I would probably take Tino over him. Can't even as a prop. I'd probably take Tarpanay over Terrell May in a really big game.
It came down to it, yeah.
Yeah. There's probably a few other props that I'd be looking at. Okay. If Atoka Manu could have a big game in this one, he'd start pushing into that conversation.
He's going to be huge for the Storm.
He's not ahead of Terrell May, right? But he's going to be big. So man of the match, Payne Haas, I think he's going to be massive. And I just think it's the Broncos' year. Like they've been heating up at the right time. I want Ezra Mam to come in and start though. Okay. I'm hoping that's a change.
I liked what they did last week a little bit, but again, I think it was a bit of too little, too late.
Yep.
Didn't really work that we saw last week. I thought Walsh, to tell you the truth, didn't have the greatest game last week.
Made a lot of wrong calls.
Yeah, I honestly think that this comeback wasn't on the back of Walsh, and it only kind of happened when Reynolds and Hunt started getting some early ball to Tony Staggs.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I think you and I were we were texting during the game. We weren't together for it, but we were sitting there for 70 minutes just texting each other saying, give the ball to Staggs.
Frosted out. Yeah, every time he got the ball, he broke 2 tackles.
Yeah. And that started from his first run, which I think would have been in the second minute of the game. And I went, Staggs is on today.
Yeah.
Like he has been for the last 2 months.
And they have to do it again. Like Melbourne can't contain him.
Well, it's Howarth. He's running against Howarth this week, who, again, has had his troubles with injury this year. A little bit of a disconjointed season for him, and can make a bit of mistakes. He's his second year in as well. Probably has a bit of revenge on his mind.
I do worry about the handling of Coates though in the air. I just don't know if Brisbane have much of an answer for that.
Yeah, you just wonder whether Mariner can jump with the likes of Coates as well.
I mean, the answer's no.
Especially with the ruling as well. Well, you would say that the Storm didn't go to it too much last week. They felt like they could beat the Sharks. Once again, I think it might have been a surprise to the Sharks too, because they beat them up the middle with a bit of running game. I thought Munster was exceptional, and Hughes actually dominated with his running game too. I think they really exploited Will Kennedy being out of position a couple of times too, something that Reece Walsh has had trouble with in the past, being aware positionally. I think Reece Walsh is quicker than Kennedy and maybe make up for it with his speed, but
we talked about this. We talked about this last week with the Sharks v Storm game. It was which pair of halves going to create more plays and more tries. And it was exactly what we said. It was a dead even game, but Jarom Hughes made that break out of nothing and beat Kennedy to line. Munster, a little kick inside.
That was crucial.
Yeah, like those two created more. And Trindle and Hines, they weren't bad, but they just didn't create as much as those two. So they couldn't keep up. I think Brisbane have no trouble keeping up in terms of scoring, and I think the flow of the game will suit Brisbane. I just think Brisbane have more points than them in the Storm, which is pretty wild to say considering how good the Storm are. But that's why I've got 19-18 here.
Yeah.
Now, look, we should probably throw to your prediction here. So you ready to go?
Because it's a complete opposite.
Is it? Let's go.
I mean, for a team that, you're talking about 2 years ago, Demons, let's go to maybe most recent Demons. This team was in the grand final last year. And
good to see some variety in the league, right?
For a team that has been downtrodden for years in terms of not being overly represented by their own state or recognized by their own state.
Oh, well.
They are the one team down in Melbourne, and they are flying the flag for the NRL, and they have been doing it since 2004. Guys, it's getting to a really tough stage where I have to support one of these teams, and the Storm just happened to be that team. Okay. I cannot, in good faith, as a Cowboys fan, support the Broncos in a grand final. That is why I will be praying for more sad face as a Broncos fan, and I'll be enjoying a nice warm victory. And I think the other thing I think for me, this really needs to stamp the legacy of some really crucial players for the Storm. It's coming to a bit of a head where we might see this spine break up in the next couple of years, and they haven't won anything without Cameron Smith being there. The last premiership they won, Cameron Smith was the hooker, and Munster, Hughes, Pappenhausen, they were in the team. Grant, I think, was off at the Tigers, just biding his time to be able to take over that spot. but it's a legacy-defining grand final for this team. I think Munster to be able to win one on his own kind of really shows how great he has been this year as well. I think he's really been back to his best on the back of a couple of really bad injury-riddled seasons. And for Hughes, it'd be a bit of redemption after having such a successful season last year and winning Dally M, that it is almost justified that they win this year and get over the line. As far as the game script is concerned, I definitely think they start hot, Melbourne. Like, they're not going to have as much trouble, I would say, scoring points against a Broncos team that has leaked a few points this year. Don't get that wrong. And I think that they get out to a big 20-0 lead, and the Broncos just don't have enough in the tank to run them down, even though the Broncos have been doing that to a lot of teams this year.
Wow. It sounds on a... no, that's look, I could see it happening. I mean, look,
You play the tiny violin in the background.
We could run the... Considered going with that. But yeah, look, 20-12. The difference between our scores is really just one try and a few crucial sort of kicks. So I don't hate your prediction. I mean, Josh King as man of the match is very brave. It's like, is there a stat line that you're leaning into there that you think is going to happen, or a story, or?
I almost just think that, so for Josh King, he's actually scored quite a few tries this year. Well, I was almost going to put him down as a try scorer as well, but I think I might even get on that at some point.
Wow.
Because Harry Grant, in crucial moments this year, has looked to work the middle, and Josh King has actually been the guy to benefit from it the most. Yeah. But away from scoring tries, I think this guy is just going to outwork a lot of people. He always goes underrated. He always goes unnoticed. And I want him to get his flowers, and there's no bigger flower for him to get than a man of the match performance. I don't inevitably think that they will give it to him. I would love it to go to Josh King, but I do think it'll end up going to Munster.
Yeah.
If the Storm.
But you think he'll deserve a man of the match performance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, that's your prediction.
Outworking everyone. It's a thing that a lot of these Storm players who go very unnoticed end up doing that no one really talks about a lot of the time. And Josh King's been doing it for the last couple of years. And I think for him to break out in a big game, and these guys are hurting. Like this Storm team are hurting. Who's hurting more is more the question for me, because there's a lot of guys from the 2023 grand final for the Broncos, a lot of guys with fresh wounds last year for the Storm. It's a chance of redemption for either team.
Has Ben Hunt been in a grand final since last one?
No, he has not. The most losingest player in the NRL has not been in a grand final since 2015.
I mean, will he be on the field in Golden Point if it happens?
Oh, wow. What a redemption story. That I'd love him to take the kickoff. That'd be great.
to take the
catch it.
off.
Yeah, to catch it.
I reckon he might stay out of the way. That one.
I'd love him to
let
catch
it bounce.
But as like a personal redemption story, you want to see him catch it, right? And you want to see him get that moment of like, yes, I caught it, and then on the next play they drop it. And,
Yeah. Okay. Look, juicy, and we're going to be down there as well.
We will
watching the game. Are you going to wear some purple?
Yeah, I guess I'll wear some purple.
Yeah.
My sister's a Storm fan, so might borrow a scarf.
I've got a jersey for Turtles.
A hat. I'll get a Storm hat.
So I'll be rocking that black Broncos jersey this week. And
Black Broncos.
Yeah, the mental health one.
Yeah, right.
Slick.
The Black Dog Institute.
Yeah. I'll get that going. But there's going to be some people I'm sure call me a traitor as a Para fan. I've seen a lot of people getting blasted lately for doing that. Yeah. I'm going to do it. I did it at the 2015 grand final as well.
Yeah.
Wore a Cowboys jersey.
And the not Broncos won that grand final as well, and the not Broncos won in 2023.
But they're the fun attacking team in this one, right? So I usually root for the fun attacking side.
It's about what team do you think? I definitely think this Broncos team is destined to win comps.
Yep.
Like the young squad that they have, I think they have more chances to win comps coming up, whereas I think it's a more desperate scenario for a team like the Storm, who have Munster, Hughes, Pappenhausen's late 20s now as well. But it's more I think for that spine. I don't know how long they stay together.
Yeah. The Bears is going to be interesting for them.
Also, Reynolds and Hunt, the oldest halves pairing to take the field in a grand final ever.
It might be the
oldest age of 70.
Wow.
Sorry. Oldest.
That's crazy.
Oldest.
I just think they did struggle though. And they had at the start. We talked about this earlier last week too. Not having a running six, not having running halves. Like Reynolds isn't a ball runner.
It's not as much of a threat.
Yeah. And Ben Hunt just doesn't really run the ball. I can get the numbers up, but
I'd argue that Ben Hunt at this stage of his career is a worse defender than Ezra Mam too. I saw a lot of potential there for like Nathan Cleary to expose Hunt on the edge last week.
Yep.
They didn't do it as much.
What's funny?
I think
he's
a
actually
team like Melbourne would be more clinical.
Well, he's better in the middle though. Like, I think he actually has a lot of line speed in the middle. He makes up for the physicality with just getting up there quick and
absolutely
bumping off. And he misses a few tackles.
I think he can hide in the middle a bit better as well.
But he brings a bit. Like, he's often that first contact, which is surprising.
But he has stepped up in big games for the Maroons.
So Ben Hunt last week, he had 29 run meters in that game.
Yeah,
right. 38 tackles. I guess he played hooker. Right, only 4 missed tackles, but the 29 run meters is the issue. Like, we've seen that Ben Hunt does have a good running game. I think he needs to bring it out.
He's put it in the locker the last couple of years, you would say.
35, I guess. Like, have we ever seen a half running the ball a bunch at 35?
Yeah.
Dylan Brown will be 35 in the 10th year of his contract with Newcastle, and they're counting on him being a ball runner right up till that. So,
well, with a player
things are changing.
You see it in players that relied specifically on athleticism. Like, we're not seeing as much from Jason Taumalolo now, like the deep cuts and the quickness of feet anymore. Like, it's a different way, but rather than just not using your running game and thinking you can maybe outsmart the opposition, I think is something that maybe a lot of older halves fall into. I think we saw it with Cherry Evans a bit this year as well. He probably doesn't want to take that much contact.
Woke back
anymore.
up that last month. He definitely woke up. You actually
you
get me worried a bit here too, because I'm thinking about it. Pierre Kura, Ben Hunt, they're up against the Jerome Hughes and Eli Katoa combo.
Yep.
Katoa probably is special to crack through at some point, right? Like,
he's scoring in this game.
Yeah.
He scored in last year's grand final. I'm pretty sure, didn't he?
He's such a
threat.
scored,
actually, no, they only scored one try. Don't quote me on that. I don't think he scored. Actually.
He's such a threat in the air as well. Like, that could be tough to contain.
I think both of their wingers are threats in the air too. They kicked a Warbrick too.
We could see more attack. We could see a high scoring grand final. We could see both teams crack 20 points. Like, our predictions here, 20-12.
Conservative.
19-18 is quite a few points for
I think if it's a low scoring game, that my question is, if it's a low scoring game, then I think the Storm win. They've done their job. I think if it's a high scoring game, Brisbane could win it. Absolutely. Because I don't think the Storm put up more than 24 points.
I don't think either team is an 80-minute side. Like,
no.
The competition this year, and I don't know if it's the rules or whatever it is, but there's not an 80-minute team in the comp this year. There's no one like, when Parramatta made the grand final in 2022, they had to face the juggernaut.
Those were the days, fellas.
They had to face the juggernaut Penrith. That 2022 Eels have beat both these teams. I'm just talking a bit of smack now, but you know what I mean. Like, there's not a team that, like the Storm. They've been great this year, but they haven't played an 80-minute game.
I think last week was their first 80-minute game. Storm. Well, actually, they let Iro score in the final seconds of the game.
Yeah,
and I think it was
pretty clinical, but Cronulla didn't throw much at them. Like,
no, I agree.
They were pretty.
I think Brisbane are definitely going to be a bit more dynamic.
Yeah, and Brisbane, obviously, they're not an 80-minute team, but their 40 minutes is better than anyone's in the comp. So,
one thing I would say as well for this Melbourne team is playing deep into September, October every year. Got to take a toll on you at some point as well. Like,
you've got to rest though through the year. Like,
yeah,
they didn't have heaps.
Think about the story for Madge. Yeah. Both these coaches as well. Like, the story for both of them is so wild. You got Bellamy, who has been coaching the team is the longest tenured coach in the NRL, and then you got another guy who's taken the team to a grand final in his first year. Bellamy has been coaching for, I think he's made 22 finals series and 11 grand finals now. Like, that's ridiculous. And then you can look at Madge, who has only won the other grand final that he's been in, but he took the New Zealand team to winning the World Cup, and no one thought they'd win.
Madge won, and
then won Origin back for New South Wales, and then Laurie Daly went and lost it again for us this year. So, I mean, aside from the Tigers, you would say that Madge has had success everywhere he's gone.
Madge is a fantastic coach. I was back in 2023.
When he has pieces, he works.
It was around, I think it was after the 2022 grand final. I was saying that the Eels should be looking at a coach swap. Brad Arthur, who's a fantastic rebuilding coach, for Madge, who can win comps with good teams.
Yeah.
And everyone laughed at me. Everyone was like, why would you want Madge? It's like Madge has proven it over and over again. Like, coaching the Tigers is a very different skill set to coaching an actual title threat side.
Well, the Tigers need someone like
Brad Arthur.
Yeah.
It's a different skill set, right? And Brad wasn't
absolutely.
able to get him over the top in those late games,
Yeah.
and understand the rules. I think maybe well enough to
I
from the
understand-
tricks
maybe
that Bellamy
understand
does, and
mentality as well is very
yeah,
different.
there's a bit in that. It's
Yeah.
obviously a very difficult skill. Like, I can sit here on a podcast and say, "Oh, you got to do this and that." I don't really
I think
know.
players have to buy into. I think there's also an element of this year where the Broncos were talked about like not buying into what Madge is doing, and I think they needed to maybe see results themselves to be able to. You start thinking, wow, this guy could actually take us.
Well,
places.
they're fit. Like, you had no Pat Carrigan last week,
Yeah.
which was a recipe for them to be gassed. And they stormed home in the second half.
I know.
And Penrith looked gassed. They looked fit, even without Pat Carrigan, who's one of their biggest workers. So, like, the fitness is paying off. And I don't know. I just don't think the Storm are tough enough to relent, to face that and to bat them away.
Like I said, it's weathering the storm, as it were.
I don't think they're physically
weathering the storm.
I don't think they're physical enough to keep up with the Broncos. I just think Brisbane.
No, they're not. No, I'll give
Tony
you.
Staggs over.
I'll give you the same thing. Absolutely. I don't think. I don't think player for player they match up physically that well with the Broncos, the Storm. I would argue that they have more clinician though in their.
Well, their spine is
execution.
Well. This Broncos spine is they're subbing their half on halfway through the game and moving the half.
And the hooker spot, they get nothing out of it. Like I'm just confused as to why they got 3 hookers in the team.
Maybe they will here because we've seen Ben Hunt do it at Origin. Like, surely this is the game where you throw your body out and borderline risk injury that's going to end your career.
Yeah, you will,
right?
yeah.
Like, this is the game. For Ben Hunt, this is a legacy game.
There's
He's done it at Origin.
So many storylines. Like it's weird for me, like to go into a grand final where there's so much on the line for so many players. Like Reynolds he's been tortured by the Panthers the last 5 years. He didn't win a comp with the Rabbitohs when the Panthers won their first comp, and then came back 2 years later and lost a grand final with the Broncos. As well. So there's a lot on the line for him, and I would probably say that he's looking towards retirement as well. And you probably say it might be his last crack at it.
Yeah.
And you got Ben Hunt, who dropped the 2015 grand final, arguably.
God, it's been a while.
And he had a good game that day. Like
10 years ago. That's crazy.
I know, it's 10 years ago. But
we were down there, mate.
But that has haunted him his entire career. And he came back to the Broncos to win a comp. Do I want him to achieve that dream? Absolutely not. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan. Like,
I do, mate.
I'm not here. I'm not in the business of granting dreams. Like I'm here to criticize and wish nothing but ill will for the Broncos and their team. I don't wish ill will on Ben Hunt specifically, but like the Broncos.
I love that we're going to this game though, clearly rooting for one team and the other. Like this is going to be fun for us.
I just want if this season won't be talked about as like a great season if the Storm wins. It just goes down as a generic season and not that fun. And I'm cool with that.
Wipe it out.
And also the Cowboys remain as the last Queensland team to win a grand final.
It's up there because this will be the last year before Rugby 360 comes in and everyone.
Rugby 3.
Yeah,
everyone defects.
Everyone's depth is Jai Gray.
And then Reece Walsh is earning $16 million a year playing rugby.
Yeah, he gets
at a very low level.
Paid in oil.
Bitcoin.
Walsh, he would command a bit of cash in that comp. But to be fair, like French
how do you think he plays in this game? Walsh, because I think both fullbacks actually. We haven't really talked about him too much. But
I don't know because that game last week he was fine, but he seemed a little overawed at times and sort of made a few. There were a few times where there was players on the right side in particular, and he held the ball when he had 2 men in front of him, and Staggs was running at a gap. Or he passed the ball when he sort of had a gap in front of him. I thought I'd say his pass run selection wasn't great last week. He's been good against the Storm in the regular season, generally. So I like the matchup in general. I think there's enough, physicality on the edges of the Broncos that they can't double team Walsh, and he's going to get opportunities.
Yeah,
I think he's not the best player on the field, but I think he scores a try. I think he has a big play or two.
I think Meaney's going to be headhunting him this weekend down that left-hand channel. Like Meaney's going to have to step up and cut in quite a lot. Whether Walsh is going to be expecting that or not.
That's fine. You feed your centers on those crash balls.
That's why I've gone Shibasaki to score.
Yeah.
I think he gets a pass from Walsh.
Little inside ball to Pickera, mate.
We do like the left-hand side, so we clearly think that there's a weakness there for Melbourne on that right-hand edge. But I think Pappenhausen as well has had to handle a few things this year. A lot of criticism has come his way. It seems to always come his way. I think that's just because he spends a lot of time out on the sideline.
He's
as well.
been like, if you look at the wider rugby league community, he's been demoted from the top conversation. So he used to be in that sort of, when you talk about the top fullbacks in the league, you had, I mean, Turbo's not there anymore either, but you had Turbo, Pappenhausen, Latrell was in there, Teddy was in there, Edwards more recently was in there. It's probably Ponga was in there.
Yeah,
you've now got like Ponga's kind of fallen off. I think people aren't really high on him.
It was a bit of a down year for fullbacks all round.
Teddy is the best, and no one else is really keeping up. Hammer is actually
pushing.
Would you take Hammer or
Hammer
Paps?
and Walsh? Hammer and Walsh are pushing.
Yeah, Walsh. Would you take Hammer or Paps?
On potential, you take Hammer
just like for 2026.
2026, like if I had him for 1 year. Yeah, I'd probably take Hammer.
Yeah,
because
that would have been sacrilege a year ago. Right?
Yeah, well, it's because I think Hammer's more versatile, and I can use him in different positions. Whereas I think Pappenhausen is one of those guys who can only play fullback. He needs to either be really elite at it, or move on.
You know
what I mean?
I love Paps, right? Like,
I do too. Yeah.
There was a physicality here,
and again, he stepped up. He stepped up again when the team needed it last week.
No, but there was a physicality, and there's just a top tier of speed that he used to have. And he copped all those injuries, and this isn't a critique, right? But he hasn't had that.
It's an unfortunate circumstance.
Well, do you remember 5 years ago when he used to kick return? He would sprint at the line and just pop through gaps constantly.
Yeah, well, he'd sprint it. He'd sprint blokes much bigger than him too.
Fearless, mate. And he doesn't
now
really
afraid.
have.
He's a little afraid.
I don't think he's afraid.
I think he's a little afraid.
I just think he's a bit older, and
why you think? But
I think it's injury.
Being older and wiser would come with him being a bit more technical or being able to execute a lot better. I still think as well, kind of similar to Walsh, makes a lot of wrong passes. Like doesn't pass to the guy he should, or takes a run, or kicks the ball when he probably shouldn't either.
Personally, I just think that the halves are so dominant that you're just not seeing him getting as much responsibility as other.
I think his defensive organisation is going to be extremely important.
He's great
this week, though.
He's great in that area. Yeah. Now, people talk about Silfay longer over him, but he's much better in that regard. Should be a good game though, man. Like I think it's gonna be a cracker. We talked about a few guys. I actually kind of want to put a Eli Katoa and Pia Kura try-scoring combo up. But yeah, look, it's gonna be a cracker of a game. So everyone, drop your predictions in the comments as well. Keen to hear what everyone's thinking for this one. Also, thanks to SwiftX for sending us down. After sponsoring the show all year, sending us down to the grand final. So absolutely,
done a lot for us this year. Truly happy with that partnership. It's been really nice.
It's been fantastic. So, look, just to summarize here, these are the team lists. If you do want to check them out one last time, guys, the matchups aren't always the same as the team list, but it's gonna be a cracker, especially through the middle there. I think it's gonna be tough at the start, and I think this is gonna have a real grand final atmosphere. I think it's gonna be one of the good ones. So, I'll see you there, Burgz.